They tell you from 0 to 2 to sit to talk and stand up. From 2 to 22, sit down, be quiet, and we'll look at the back of somebody's head for 20 years. And then at 22, it's like, now go stand up and be productive, loving, resourceful citizens and go change the world. Welcome to Miami. Whatever comes to my mind at that moment.
Good friend of mine, Daniel Puder.
Hey. Thanks for giving me a couple minutes. I played football in high school, it was great, and then I went into ultimate fighting and pro wrestling, had a great sports career. And we've been doing a course here where we drop the dropout or transfer rate with freshmen from about 25% to less than 3%. And so we're looking at how do we keep sustainability with emotional intelligence? How do we connect them, whether athletes or non-athletes? I'm finding a lot of time is when I was a kid, I didn't understand how to understand myself. Have you guys ever heard the saying, you can't love somebody unless you love yourself? So I find that you can't love yourself unless you understand yourself. And so what we've been finding is with the data and the research, we have a jail program too for juvenile hall kids. We have a foster care program. So we have a couple different markets, whether our pre-kindergarten through 12th grade model. We've dropped in one of the jails, we've dropped it from 80% rearrest in the last 3 years in South Florida here to 25%. It's interesting to be able to see what we've been designing. But for the athletes, I'm gonna do a little fun little game with them and play. But I'd love to come and show you guys at some point how we can get your kids to be more vision and purpose driven. I find a lot of the time, there was an athlete about 4 years ago that got cut from his sports team because he tweeted some dumb stuff on the internet. And so I'm finding a lot of these athletes, they're less and less vision driven, and they don't care about anybody but themselves. And it's what do I get right now? Give me, versus how do I actually build something long term and then give back to my college, give back to my football team, give back to my community, and really be purpose driven so we can make impact long term in our culture and society. I find usually it's like 2 years, 4 year deal with the politicians, with the corporations, it's quarter by quarter with corporations. So we're doing a lot of stuff at the university level. We created a 3-unit course and we're gonna be launching this around the country. And a lot of the coaches here on campus loved it because it doesn't take time out of NCAA time to be able to create mind and heart change with the students. So I'd love to pick your guys' brain later on. What's the biggest challenge you guys are seeing with your students? There are like 1 or 2 big challenges that you're finding? Okay. Because they're judging themselves on what everybody else thinks or where they think they should be. What else? Okay. So more negative peer pressure based upon everybody else, what they think. Okay. Oh yeah. Anybody have entitlement ever? Okay. So do you see that? Have you? And I'm just getting like to build some context. Do you guys ever do any emotional intelligence experiences? Can I bring up one thing you said the first day of class? So we're doing this little experience where him and his, we call him tag team partner because pro wrestling, so we created this cool thing. And they're tag team partners asking this question. And it was, how can I love you? And he was just really quiet. And I walked up to him while they're all doing this kind of stuff. And a lot of the time people go like this, like when they stand in front of, they're like this, or hiding themselves, or crossing arms, or nervous, or side, or they can't actually be like open and authentic. It's very interesting to be able to see the vulnerable side of it, because as men, we're told be tough, don't cry, and then we wonder why there's such a disconnect and why we actually can't connect to other humans. So it's interesting how I'm one of the toughest humans in the world, and I was number 26 in the world for heavyweights, so I'm pretty tough. And I can actually be open and vulnerable with people, but I can also be tough. So it doesn't mean that we can't be both, but as men, so I asked him, I go, what's going on? He goes, what was the answer? And so it's interesting how he said that the first day, and it set the context of the whole class, because he was actually able to be authentic and open about who he was. And the whole class sat there and they're like, wow. And so it shifts the dynamics of how people come together as family, I believe, and how we actually get results, because people push themselves harder when they believe in a team, because definitely football is a team sport. My sport, more than a team sport, people think it's individual. If I don't have my kickboxing coach, my Thai boxing coach, my wrestling coach, my strength training coach, my nutritionist, I had probably 15 guys when I was on Showtime and NBC. They all coach me. If I didn't have one of them that week, it hurt me every single week. So just something for you guys to think about. But we're gonna play a little game with the kids and get them to do a little something. If you want to grab one of the kids while we do it, that would be awesome too, and play with them. So it'll be a little bit fun. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Because I find that a lot of students, they're either broke after NFL or they're just lost. And I want to make sure that even if they go to college and they don't go pro, how do we get them to come back and be impactful and purposeful with your guys' team long term so we can get better results? So, thank you guys very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, now, before he walks away, I just want to let you know the first time I show up at his class, first of all, he's locked out of the room, so he can't even start his class. But instead of, I love this because as a coach, it's what we do all the time. You walk outside, it's raining, all right, we just change our practice plan, we adjust. It's what we do. It's kind of that emotional intelligence without even knowing we're doing it. But I walk up, and he's got all these kids sitting there, and puts them in a circle, sets them down, and they start playing duck, duck, goose. So what okay, what kind of course are we doing here? So I'm just standing back watching. They're playing the traditional kind of what we would all consider duck, duck, goose. He's like, nah, get out of here. So he gets in, and they tag him. Instead of running around the circle counterclockwise, he runs through the middle, jumps over, and grabs somebody, and I got you.
They're like, it's not fair, it's not fair.
You're cheating. You never told me the rules, so it's like, okay, I'm getting this. I kind of like it. You got to think outside the box a little bit. But it's very interesting stuff.
I think the next student went the opposite way.
Yes.
Got the person, and then they started mixing it up. Then we put rules in place, but it was interesting because they started thinking outside the box. The studies have shown the younger you are, the more resourceful you are. The older you are, the more, they tell you from 0 to 2 to sit to talk and stand up. From 2 to 22, sit down, be quiet, and we'll look at the back of somebody's head for 20 years. And then at 22, it's like, now go stand up and be productive, loving, resourceful citizens and go change the world. And it's funny how we've trained them, just like military, like law enforcement. We train them one way and then we expect a different result. So it was fun.
Creating experiences for student athletes and students around the country has been one of the primary focuses of the My Life, My Power Institute. We help these kids understand themselves so that they can be productive, loving, passionate, vision and purpose-driven youth who are the next generation to then impact our future. I find when we get time with these students to create experiences where they not only learn content, but interact with each other, build relationships, and become vulnerable and open, this is what brings the humanistic side together. And the more we get to do this with our athletes, who are usually the students in the schools who are more popular and they understand what others go through, we can create a culture within schools that will add value across all departments, all different races and religions, all different ethnic backgrounds and cultural diversity. I want to be able to impact these kids and our future kids to the best of our ability, and it starts with just getting to know each other.